In this video, I'm going to talk about the Peekaboo jab. The jab, I believe, and a lot of people agree with me, is the most important punch in boxing. Okay, why is that? Number one is its advanced position. Okay, it's the closest hand to your opponent's target. Okay, closest hand to the target. So it's the lead hand. Okay, so in Peekaboo, every time I punch, I want to move my head. So I'm going to cover or show 4 different variations of the lead jab for Peekaboo. Okay, and a lot of it consists on what you do with your head. Remember, Peekaboo boxing, you take your defense just as serious as your offense. Okay, every time you attack, you defend. Attack, defend. Either by moving your head or moving your feet. Okay, so first jab, number 1 is called the standard. I call it the standard jab. Okay, so when you're in your boxing stance, your Peekaboo stance, remember, I'm not 100% squared up. Not on the outside. When I'm on the outside, my body's at a 45 degree. All right, so this hand's in the lead. You can have them either glued to your face or you can have them up, but most of the time in Peekaboo, your hands are up, all right, because it's a very defensive-minded system. Take defense very serious. Okay, I see people in sparring all the time, they take their offense serious, and then when they're done punching or during their combination, they get hit. Why? Because they don't move their head or they don't move their feet. You want to get your head offline. So if this is my center line from my nose down the middle, I want to get my head off. All right, get into one of those Peekaboo firing positions. Okay, I'm safer when I'm offline. Okay, so first one's a standard. Now, power from the jab does not come fully from me just blading up and rotating, like fully rotating, pulling this shoulder back. All right, power from my jab, or the Peekaboo jab, is the drive off the rear foot. I'm going to drive. Kind of reminiscent of Jack Dempsey's fallen step. All right, I'm going to drive and land hard on that lead foot. It's simple. Just push off with the lead foot, the rear foot. Then the jab is, the hand just comes out. You see how I'm doing that? I'm not telegraphing it. I'm not pulling it back to come in. Wherever my hands are out, I drive off that rear foot and go. And then after that, I want to move my head. Okay, usually off the jab, I slip. Jab and slip. You can slip in all 3 positions, which is I push off that foot. Number 7, jab, slip. I push off, jab, slip. Push off, jab, duck or slip down. Okay, and you're mixing it up. But to be honest, the main one that I do is just like how if you watch Tyson is I jab and slip out. Why? Because I'm always the right hand is the arch nemesis of the jab. All right, the right hand is the arch nemesis. Even if I jab and slip, I can slip that right hand. So I'm being proactive with my defense. Even if he throws the hook, I can jab and slip. I can make it more of a 2-dimensional hook and go down. That hook will go over my head. Or even if he hits me with the hook, when I slip, I'm rolling with the power. I'm absorbing and rolling with the power. Okay, so the first one is drive off the rear foot. I'm not rotating. You can put a little hip into it, put a hip into the jab. All right, I'm just gonna pop and then slip. Move my head 2 to 3 times or once. I'm moving my head. Okay, that's the standard jab. The second one is the outside jab. So this is where you start combining a slip and a jab at the same time. So the outside jab, the reason why is because I'm moving my head outside my opponent's jab if he's an orthodox fighter. Okay, so I'm here, I'm gonna move my head out and jab. The jab's gonna go here, but I'm gonna rotate the thumb down like I'm pouring out a coffee cup. Okay, so when I'm here, I'm gonna slip, I'm gonna step, drive, slip, and jab at the same time. Boom. All right, then I can move my head. Okay, again, outside jab. Wow. All right, get it right in there. His jab goes over. Either he jabs or doesn't jab. I'm just doing a different angle of the jab. Okay, that's the outside jab. Then we got the inside jab. All right, so he throws that jab. I'm going to move my head this way, but then rotate the shoulder up, okay, and jab at the same time. All right, so I'm here. The punch comes straight at my nose. I'm going to slip and jab up at the same time. It's a slip jab. Okay, Hard for me to do. I got a separated shoulder. I'm an old man, I know. Okay. But I'm gonna boom, jab and slip at the same time inside his punch. I'm hitting them as they hit me. It's called thread the needle. Okay. That's the third one, the inside jab. And then the fourth one, okay, the fourth one is the number 8, which is the body jab. Same as the number 2, the outside jab, except I'm gonna get my head a little lower, turn the thumb down, shoot the hip out, and throw the 8 to the solar plex. Okay, so I'm gonna be here. Let's say he throws that jab, I slip down and throw the 8. Normally my shoulder, the plane of my shoulder is level with the punch. I'm not like this, because I'm moving my head up. Here, my back is shoulder, thumb down. That's the number 8. So a quick review, standard. Remember, move your head after your last punch. Standard, jab, slip, straight in. Okay? Now, a quick note on the standard jab, I call it also the pull cue. You ever play pool and see how straight you have to keep that pull cue? Same thing with the jab. It just goes here like a pull cue. And I drive, power comes from my forward momentum. Okay, so standard, bump, move my head. Okay, outside, move my head. Inside, move my head. All right, and then body, move my head. Now the body, remember the outside and the body jab, your head's already offline. You're not gonna, you can roll. Usually I pop back up to my stance and then I move my head. Because if I pop back up, I don't stay there. I move my head in case they're waiting for me to pop my head up. Okay, so those are the 4 basic jabs of Peekaboo. Okay, so let me show you a little bit on the heavy bag. How do you practice the jab? Get on the heavy bag. But most importantly, making sure you drive off that rear foot, get your body weight into the punch. Okay, the Peekaboo jab is not a flicker jab. It's a hard jab, all right? If you ever see Tyson, you know, he always put a lot into his jab, okay? So, first one's the standard. I'm gonna drive off that rear foot, punch and move. Okay, here. Make sure I'm breathing out when I punch. Second one's the outside. I'm gonna turn the thumb down. Move my head. All right, again. But you see how I push off that rear foot? I get my body weight into motion. I weigh about 185 pounds right now. I want 185 pounds in my jab. Okay, so again, outside, thumb down. Okay, also a good reason I like to turn the thumb down is watch my fist. Look how fat and wide it is. When I turn it down, it makes it skinny so it goes between his gloves easier. Okay, also when you turn the thumb down, it rotates the shoulder up. And it actually gives you a couple extra more inches in reach. So if I do the standard versus you see how it gives me a couple more inches? Really drives in there, okay? Then the third one's the slip jab, the inside jab. I'm gonna jab and slip at the same time. Okay, and then the number 8, the outside. The body jab. Get my head and my shoulder, my arm and my shoulders parallel to the target. Okay, so then you can start mixing it up. Let's say in sparring, I might come out, work the standard jab, moving my head. I can double it up. Pop, pop, moving my head. Maybe go pop, 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 triple jab. All right, working the jab, and then moving my head and my feet. All right, but then I might add in the outside jab. I might standard jab, next time do outside jab. Standard jab, moving my head. Standard, moving my head. Outside, standard, moving my head. So I'm throwing these jabs like a rapid fire jab succession at my opponent. But I'm giving the different angles of the jab. Not getting them used to one way how I jab. All right, then I can add in the slip jab. Slip and jab at the same time. So standard, moving around, outside, all right, slip and jab, moving my head, standard, slip jab, outside. Starting to change the different angles when I'm jabbing my opponent. And then I add the body jab. So I can go standard, outside, body jab, boom, slip jab, outside, slip jab, body jab, standard, slip jab. And you see I can start working those different jabs and then get on the heavy bag. Put a 3-minute clock on and just work jabs, footwork, jabs, and head movement. So I'm moving around standard. All right, doubling it up. Working the jab now. Maybe I'll go high-low. You can see the different angles of the jab I can start working on. Imagine if you did 10 3-minute rounds a week of only the different jabs. How good your jab game is going to be, right? Because when you touch gloves and begin to fight or spar, rule number one, you start working the jab. Unless they just blitz you and you have to fight on the inside or move, you're going to work the jab. You're not just going to walk in, you're going to jab your way in. Tyson just didn't walk in, he jabbed his way in. Tyson has a very underrated jab. Okay, if you watch him against any of the fights that he went the distance, Mitch Green, Tony Tucker, James Tillis, Bone Crusher Smith, I'm talking prime Mike, pre-1988 and before that. In those longer fights, he knew to go to the jab. And he won a lot of those rounds, especially against Tony Tucker, with the jab. And Tyson's only like 5'9". Okay, 5'10", 5'9". I've met Tyson in person. I'm 6'2", and Tyson was up to my ear. He's actually shorter. He's not 5'11". So imagine someone who's 5'9", barely 5'10", you know, out jabbing someone like Tony Tucker, who was 6'5". Okay, that is it. So work on the jab, and then when you get a partner, start sparring. So a good drill to do in your partner is you just go back and just jab each other. All right, just go ping pong. I jab, you jab. Because when he jabs with the different offline jabs, you can practice your defense. You know, how do I block the body jab? Turning the elbows in. How do I block all the jabs? Slip side to side or duck. You can actually weave the jab. Okay? You can actually just control the distance with your footwork. Okay? That is it. Have a good day.